Welcome to the Inner Compass podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Cotten. I'm on a mission to help female entrepreneurs find and nurture their inner compass by tuning into their mental health, mindset, and personal development. When your inner compass points north, your true north, that's where magic and alignment begins. Having a life filled with possibilities, happiness, and a lot of fun. Abundance is waiting for you. Let's get started with today's episode. Welcome back to the podcast. So today I want to talk about something that might really either trigger you or it might feel really prickly or kind of unsettling. It is the concept that your business is not your baby. Go get a hobby. Okay, I'm going to break it down for you so you're not like, oh my gosh, Alyssa, like what are you even talking about? When I'm working with entrepreneurs, and I've seen this a lot in the personal development world, is they say treat your business like a baby or like your baby, like a newborn, and you're going to be in the infancy stages where you're not getting a lot of sleep and you're up really late nights, kind of like the early stages of your business. And then your business is going to be in the toddler phase where you're constantly questioning, what am I doing? Am I competent enough? Am I capable enough to handle the stages that my business is at? And then, your business gets into the older stages of a child and they're like, man, we're smooth sailing. But the idea that your business is a baby, is your baby, actually is going to hold you back and stunt you from growing. That mentality that your business is your baby keeps you in the mind frame of, without me, this business would not survive. Without me, this business could not grow. And that mindset's going to keep you stuck. And also what's going to happen is you're going to be more defensive and more not open to feedback, right? Because I'm not a parent, but I have a lot of siblings with babies. And if I've ever said, hey, have you ever thought about doing this with your baby? No-go zone. Do not tell other parents how to parent. And the same thing happens with your business. When someone says, have you ever thought about doing this or doing that? It's like no-go zone, because the identity of your business being your baby actually blocks you from taking feedback or getting that criticism that maybe the strategies that you're doing are not working or not effective. So what I like to encourage people to think of is, yes, the idea of your business being your baby, it's something that you've brought into this world and you want to expand and grow and nurture it. Think of your business like your twin. So what I mean by that is, yes, your twin is like an extension of you, but it is not you entirely. You can live a life without being in the same room with your twin, without even being in the same time zone. And the same thing as a twin. Think about two twins. What is something that they always strive for? They always strive to be different. How can I separate myself from my twin so that way I can have my own identity and I'm not stuck with the identity that we are one unit, but we are two separate units? And how that leans into us today talking about the importance of you getting a hobby and the importance of you nurturing a hobby is the same thing you would do if you were a twin. If you are a twin, you want your own style, you want your own taste in music, your own food. You want to be different from your twin because you want to stand out. The same thing with your business. It is so important for you to have hobbies. It is so important for you to have interests outside of your business. I know, for example, for me, when I was starting my business, I had that mentality that my business was my baby. And I kept saying, my business is my baby and I'm working on it and I'm nurturing it. And then I got to the point where all of my hobbies were being neglected. And I had one personality. I'm an entrepreneur. Well, what do you like to do for fun? I like to work on my business. What do you like to do on the weekends? I am working on my email campaign. And my entire identity was being an entrepreneur. It was like I lived, eat, breathed everything. All of the podcasts I was listening to, all the books I was reading was all about how to grow and nurture my business. And I got burnt out on being an entrepreneur because it was so one-sided. It was this identity that I can't thrive or survive without my business. And who am I if I'm not an entrepreneur 24/7? I think there was a couple of TikToks going around that said, I didn't want to work a 9 to 5, so now I became an entrepreneur and I work 24/7. That is not the identity that I want, and I don't think that's the identity you want either. But what happens is when we think about our hobbies, we get stuck in the pigeonhole of transactions. So what I mean by that is if you are a high achiever, if you're an entrepreneur, you most likely have done everything in your life because there was a transaction involved. For example, you going back to grade school. You go to school, you get good grades, and how did your parents reward you? Maybe you didn't have to do chores that weekend. Maybe you got to stay up a little bit later, or maybe you didn't get grounded, or maybe you got to go to ice cream or have a sleepover at your friend's house. You've been conditioned that everything in your life should have a transaction. It's conditional. And the thing with hobbies is unconditional love. Most hobbies, there is no transaction. There's no this is going to help me grow. This is going to help me scale. This is going to help me be the best version of myself. It's for the pure enjoyment of being in the present moment and enjoying the present moment. And as an entrepreneur, it can be really hard to get around this idea of doing things for the pure enjoyment of doing them. So often I was working with a client and I said, well, why don't you start working on puzzles? And they looked at me and said, well, what do I gain from doing that? And I said, oh, you get to just be present with your thoughts. Maybe you have some music, maybe you're watching a movie. And they said, well, how is that going to help me grow my business? How is that going to help me finish this task? How is that going to help me network or market? And as an entrepreneur, it's so conditioned that every step in your life needs to have a transaction of a reward on the other side. We've been conditioned that unconditional activities are not beneficial to our identity or our business because we think everything we need to do has to have a return on investment. It has to have that ROI, or why would I engage in it? And if I'm going to do a puzzle, what's the ROI on that? That's only taking time that I could use to grow my business. And that mentality is going to keep you stuck. It's going to keep you burnt out, and you are going to resent your business because if you only know how to work on your business, the point is for you to live your life, for you to have it all. And if you can't enjoy hobbies along the way, once you've made it to that success, you've hit that income mark, or have even hit that identity of I am a successful entrepreneur, well, how are you going to enjoy your free time? And that's when anxiety is going to creep in because you're going to have time on your schedule because you've delegated or you've created systems to keep more time back and to gain more time in your schedule. But what's going to happen is you're not going to trust that the time you've created is actually going to be there. So you are going to condition your brain to constantly be busy. And this go, 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 go energy is just a one-way ticket to anxiety, burnout. And I'm seeing it so often. So many creators, so many entrepreneurs are leaving their business because they never created work-life balance. They never gave themselves permission to enjoy their hobbies and enjoy the journey. They were so quick to get to that goal of hitting that $1 million or hitting that income month that they forgot that they are a person first and an entrepreneur second. So the importance of hobbies, let's break it down. Some of the importance of hobbies. When you have hobbies and you make time, at first what you're probably going to have to do is schedule time in your schedule. If you are someone who is very busy and you never make time for yourself, creating a time for hobbies might feel really stressful, but in the long run, taking time for your hobbies is actually going to reduce your stress. And when you've reduced your stress, you can handle more of the stressors that your business is going to throw on you because you're taking time to just connect with yourself and connect with your inner compass. So something really exciting about hobbies is hobbies and the connection with the brain. Hobbies affirm that you are worth paying attention to. Again, hobbies affirm that you are worth paying attention to. And what I mean by that is so often we're so quick to give, do all the things for our business to grow our business that we forget we are the number one person in our lives. We are going to have the longest relationship with ourselves. And if we don't pause and give ourselves that unconditional love without conditions, then the brain is going to think, I'm only good as like a worker bee. I'm only good as a workhorse. I can't just go frolic in the field. And hobbies are the number one way that you can remind yourself that, hey, I am so amazing that I can just pause and be amazing by myself with my thoughts, working on a puzzle or working on a craft or working on photography or just walking in nature, because that is going to give me the best gift, which is self-love. A main benefit for having hobbies, it's going to access different parts of your brain that you're not used to using. So in your entrepreneur journey, you're so focused on doing all the tasks that you need to do to have your business run well. But hobbies access a different part of your brain, and it's going to allow you to see life through a new perspective. It's going to create this new sense of creativity. And when you have a new sense of creativity or even inspiration, you're going to show up in your business in a different way, and you're going to show up in your life in a different way. When you take time for hobbies, what's going to happen is it's going to naturally lower your stress. It's going to improve your mental health because you're pausing and you're slowing down intentionally. It's a form of restoration, and when we have restoration, we're recharging our mind, body, and soul by engaging in something that fills our cup, it nourishes us, and naturally that's going to help us lower our stress. Another thing with hobbies, it gives us opportunity to build new skills. Maybe we've always wanted to do photography, but we're thinking, why would I need that? That's not going to help my business grow. Again, hobbies are not transactional. They're unconditional. They're there just for the mere enjoyment of exploring a new skill. And when we explore a new skill, it's going to help us in so many other areas in our life. It's going to help us with our time management, our stress reduction, and again, our inspiration and creativity. Because when we're inspired, we're going to show up differently in our business, and we're going to have new perspectives and new ways of leaning in and getting tasks done. Another fun thing with hobbies is networking opportunities. Most entrepreneurs start off solo and they are isolated. It's a very lonely journey in the beginning until you start hiring a team. And networking in just your hobbies is incredible. This last year, I started networking in one of my hobbies, which is Disney. I love going to the Disney parks and watching the movies and doing Disney crafts. And I met this group of girls who are all in different walks of life. And it reminded me that outside of being an entrepreneur, that my hobbies give me so much joy and entertainment. And I've been able to connect with other people through mutual hobbies that have been giving me perspective. They've been giving me inspiration. They've been giving me hope. Things that I wouldn't get if I just stuck to my business and I didn't go outside of just the traditional networking with other entrepreneurs. I'm able to meet with friends who have different schedules, who I can hear their different stressors and their excitements. And that also helps with that connection that I'm not alone, that yes, my stressors are different as an entrepreneur, but connecting with other people through shared hobbies can really bring you back to that basics of I am so much more than just an entrepreneur. Another thing for having hobbies, it's going to help you with work-life balance. It is so easy, especially on the entrepreneur journey, is just to go, 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 because things are never truly done. It's not like you clock out and you can go home and enjoy the weekend. Without you putting the work in, the systems won't move. They won't function without you delegating the tasks. And that work-life balance of saying, actually, tonight I'm going to turn my emails off. I'm going to turn my phone off. I'm going to close my computer. And I'm just going to focus on things that make me happy. Maybe I'm going to learn a new recipe. Maybe I'm going to bake some goods. Maybe I'm going to go to the craft store and grab a new craft, and maybe I'm going to do some beading or crocheting, or maybe I'm going to watch some YouTubes on how to make some DIY, and I can go and get all the supplies. And that's going to create that work-life balance. Research has shown that when we engage in our hobbies, we actually have more clarity and mental capacity to do those stressful activities and do those stressful things. So the next time you've got a big stressful event in your life, I want to challenge you to incorporate more hobbies. And you're going to say, Alyssa, that sounds so counterintuitive. Why would I add more to my plate when I should be taking things off? And when you're adding hobbies, again, hobbies are unconditional love. They're going to love you for just you. They don't need anything in return. That is going to help you separate and be present. And you're going to be showing up with ease and flow, and you're not going to be stressed. And when we are not stressed, we're able to strategize. We're able to think quick on our feet, because stress makes our brain get foggy. It clouds our judgment, and it makes us do decisions out of fear versus love. And when we are engaging in our hobbies and we are leaning into that love, we're able to make decisions in our business out of love instead of fear. And that is why it is so important to have hobbies. So you might be thinking, okay, Alyssa, I understand the importance of hobbies. I understand the importance of taking time to nurture what makes me happy outside of my business. But where do I get started? I've been so stuck into just growing my business that I don't even know how to get started. So start back to when you were a kid. What made you happy? When it was free hour at school, what did you enjoy doing? Did you enjoy taking photos? Did you enjoy painting, beading, crocheting, cooking, baking, learning a new language? Luckily, there's so many things that we can do. A fun place to go is on Pinterest and just Google hobbies. And you're gonna learn so many hobbies that you could engage in. There's so many free ones or paid ones. But reminding yourself that your business is not your baby, your business is your twin. It's a separate identity, it's a separate part of you. Yes, so often we confuse twins as the same person, or we think that they have the same shared interest or the same shared hobbies, but this is totally different. So let me know. I know this podcast is new, but definitely let me know. You can send me a message or send me an email. What is a hobby that you are going to start doing? Do you want to start blocking off time on your schedule? Are you going to make it a priority to start engaging in those hobbies so that way you can keep affirming that you are worthy and deserving of all the love that this life has to offer? Thank you so much for tuning in to today's podcast. I am so grateful, and I hope that you got some main takeaways of creating hobbies, because your business is not your baby. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you're looking for more guidance as you nurture and tune into your inner compass, check out the show notes below to learn how to join the membership Inner Compass support, or even get some one-on-one support on your journey.